Well, here I am. I'm back again at Sino. Welcome to this episode of Sentences That Sell, a retrospective look on the sales process, your go-to podcast on modern day selling and how to navigate the complex, ever-changing business environment. I look forward to spending time with you today on this special topic, which is all about qualifying leads and customers. As I said before, I'm using this little book, Sentences That Sell. I read a little bit from it, but I'm trying not to read the whole book to you because that would take a hell of a lot of time. But I do have it here in my hands, and I'm looking at some of the areas that I highlighted from 1987 when I first was given this book, which is pretty amazing. But really today we're going to learn how to quickly and effectively qualify leads, so we can determine if that prospect is worth actually pursuing, believe it or not. Time management's critical, so honing the skill can really significantly increase your sales efficiency, because I remember when I was on the sales floor and we were scarce, salespeople were scarce on the floor, it was all about numbers and how many people you approached and how many people you could close to hit your sales commission qualifier to then start earning some real money. And I thought that this would be a great topic to follow up the approach and greeting of the customer, because it's obviously the next step, the next sequential step in the sales process, which is going through that qualifying process. And I guess it's an offshoot of establishing rapport, because as you establish rapport, you start to ask all the right questions, where you develop a series of probing questions to sort of uncover the prospect's needs, their timeline, their budget, and really the decision-making process. Are they the ones making the final decision on the purchase, or is there somebody else they have to consult? That's really critical to know up front. And then there's other things that you have to think about. With everybody talks about pain points. Well, how do you dig deeper into the customer's problems so you align your product as a solution to the issue that they've got? Now, it may not necessarily be a bad issue. It could be something as simple as replacing a product that they had before that was really reliable and easy to use and not complex. Well, how are you going to resolve that for them? And, during this process, there's a really other interesting thing that you got to think about is, because this is a solo podcast at the moment, I don't get the opportunity to do as much listening because I'm really just speaking, but listening more than speaking to understand the underlying motivations of your prospect or potential customer is a critical thing in this whole qualifying process. I've talked about it in a couple of other podcasts I've done with one of my mates, Simon, where we talk about feedback and establishing rapport and how important it is to listen to give you a bedrock of information that you can work from. And I guess this leads to one very, very important thing once you start listening and start identifying key pain points in the sales process and asking the right questions, is you start sorting prospects into sort of categories based on their interest level, their readiness to buy, and really their buying authority. So it's really interesting, sort of that skill of finding the genuine prospects in your business. Now, in the Sentences That Sell book, under qualifying, that starts on page 8, this is what David Panther would say, or Brushes would say. A sale is made when a prospect's expressed need is answered with an appropriate benefit statement. Features: describe what something is. Benefits: describe what it will do for this particular prospect. For example, if a TV prospect expressed a need for a mobile television, the salesman might respond, "This television comes with a mobile stand, which is a feature. Therefore, you can watch TV wherever you wish." That's the benefit. Learn to use feature and benefit techniques is relatively simple, but the important aspect is that your feature and benefit statements must be related to the prospect's needs. In order to respond with feature and benefit statements related to the prospect's needs, we must first discover those needs or qualify. To do this, we must ask questions. This question should be related to the following: when, immediately or later, who is the decision maker who will be using the product, why, motivational reason for buying, what, the major requirements, how, not the price but the method of purchase, where will the purchase be used. It's a good idea to preface your questions with a short statement explaining why you're asking. So, for example, so that I can help you get the best value for your money and for your television, may I ask you a few important questions? So as you can see, asking questions or qualifying is really, really important. Now think about a guy, Jordan Belfont, and he was controversial as the Wolf of Wall Street, but as you would have seen in the movie and even read in the book, he's very highly skilled at quickly qualifying prospects. He developed this straight line persuasion system which taught salespeople to guide conversations in a way that allows them to qualify buyers really quickly, really focusing on their needs and willingness to make a purchase. So I guess the key lesson that Jordan really delivered was that qualifying's all about asking the right questions, understanding needs, and swiftly identifying who is likely to buy. So the interesting thing is finding real buyers, as they say in Sentences That Sell. Well, not every person shows that they're interested and really ready to make a purchase. So I guess that's okay, because the key to success is really sorting out the wheat from the chaff. Who is more likely to buy without wasting time or losing momentum. And I think the lost art of qualification, just like not creating a great first impression, is something that impacts a lot of opportunities for companies today. So why does this matter? Well, qualifying prospects efficiently, I guess, if I could say it like that, if I could say the word properly, it's really about recognising who has the need, the budget, and the authority to make the decision, just like David Panther says in his book. Because, really you've got limited time during the day and you've got limited energy. Now, not everybody's going to be streaming into a bricks and mortar store. They'll probably be streaming online, but the same applies there. How is your online offering tapered towards helping people understand features and benefits, and more importantly, help them self-qualify that they feel they're making the right buying decision by visiting your site? Because there's a ton of statistics on abandonment rates for people visiting sites for whatever reason. But, I think being able to ask the question, whether it's online or I'm talking more face-to-face now, but, it does apply right across the whole total retail aspect. What's the most important feature you're looking for in your product? That's got to be, I think, one of the most important questions you've ever got to ask. Because it really hones in on identifying the customer's priorities and frames the conversation around their needs. So my tip for budding salespeople or people that are experienced and maybe want to have a retrospective look on this is really use open-ended questions to gather information about your customer's situation. Always ask about budget, timelines, preferences, but do it in such a way that it's not so obvious. But do it in a conversational tone, right? That's probably what I'm really saying. You're not grilling them. You're trying to build a really good career by getting a clearer picture of how you can help people with their needs. So I hope that's helped you a little bit. Sort of a bit all over the place, but qualifying is really, really critical skill to learn. And I think whilst I'm giving you a fairly straightforward approach from this little book, Sentences That Sell, it really goes into a lot of depth about qualifying and, using open-ended questions and really discovering the dominant emotional buying motive. So a great example of that is, what's the major use you had in mind for your new, vacuum cleaner? Well, that's pretty obvious. Or your TV, that's pretty obvious too. For your car, is it a car for pleasure? Is it a car for work? There are considerations there. You're going to be driving a lot, so it might need to be more comfortable and have a different seating configuration, all those sorts of things. So, there are other things about, I guess, when you're talking about qualifying, finding out how they're going to pay for something, something as simple as, tell me, would you be taking advantage of our easy ownership plan, for example, if you're at a car dealership, or would you be paying by cash or credit card? All these different things that come up in this book, but I can't stress enough that qualifying, whether it's a lead or people, really is probably as important as meeting them properly in the first place. But really, when you talk about features and benefits of whatever service you sell, this is a very, very critical aspect of what you should be focusing on to set the rest of the sale up. I hope that makes sense. I always get something out of really qualifying people properly. I hope you've enjoyed it. And look, till next time, don't forget to reflect on today's podcast with that actionable tip that I've given you before, and look forward to speaking to you again. If you like this, please subscribe. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye.